Hello everyone, welcome to your history and civics class for the day. So we are doing chapter number 11, the March to Freedom 1919 to 1947. Let's see the objectives done in the previous class. The revolutionaries, second phase, the Simon Commission, then we have learnt about the Nehru Report of 1928 and Lahore Session of the Congress 1929. The terms that we have covered in our previous topic are number 1, revolutionary, number 2, assassination, number 3, HRA, number 4, HSRA, number 5, dominion status, and number 6, Purna Swaraj. I hope you have learned all the terms we have done till now. And here are some questions regarding to the previous topic we have done. Try to give the answers. Number 1. Name some revolutionaries. I hope you know the answer of this question. Number 2. Name the organization formed by the revolutionaries. Number 3. Who was Surya Sen? Number 4. How did the Indians greet the Simon Commission? Well, this question is also easy. Next, what was Lahore conspiracy case? Next question, children. Why did Muslim League reject the Nehru Report? And the last question, who presided over the Lahore session of the Congress in 1929? Try to give the answers of these questions, children. In today's class, we are going to learn about the civil disobedience movement of 1930 till 34. Then, in civil disobedience movement only, we will study about Dandi March, which is famously known as the Salt March. Then, we will study about the round table conferences. In this, there are 3 round table conferences which we are going to study. First round table conference, second round table conference, and the third round table conference. Then, we will study about the Gandhi-Irwin Pact of 1931. Let us learn some technical terms regarding today's topic. Number 1, civil disobedience movement, the refusal to obey the demands or commands of a government without resorting to violence. Number 2, roundtable conference, a group discussion among the participants who have an agreed topic. Number 3, pact, a formal agreement between individuals or parties is known as pact. Last term, salt law, the law that clearly stated that nobody could manufacture salt in India without the permission of the British government. Now let us start with our new topic of the day, that is the civil disobedience movement. The civil disobedience movement is the active, professed refusal of a citizen to obey certain laws, demands, orders, or commands of a government. It was equated with peaceful protest or non-violent resistance. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was the leader of this movement. The first satyagrah through civil disobedience movement was the Salt Law. What was the Salt Law? Britain's Salt Act of 1882 prohibited Indians from collecting or selling the salt, which was the staple in their diet. Indian citizens were forced to buy the vital mineral from their British rulers who, in addition to exercising a monopoly over the manufacture and sale of salt, also charged a heavy salt tax. The Dandi March was organized by Gandhiji to break the salt law. Salt March or Dandi March was a 24-day non-violent march led by Gandhiji. On March 12, 1930, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi embarked a historic salt march from Sabarmati Ashram in Gujarat's Ahmedabad to the village of Dandi. Gandhiji made a handful of salt at the seashore and thus broke the salt law. During the march, thousands of Indians, yes children, thousands of Indians followed Gandhiji. Mass civil disobedience spread throughout India as millions broke the salt laws by making salt or buying illegal salt. Salt was sold illegally all over the coast of India. Page number 124, topic, the civil disobedience movement. Under the able leadership of Gandhiji, The civil disobedience movement was started. It was different from the non-cooperation movement. This movement focused on complete independence, making the British administrators helpless and functioning of the government difficult. Gandhiji launched the civil disobedience movement. It began with the satyagraha against the salt law. The salt law clearly stated that nobody could manufacture salt in India without the permission of the British government. The people had to pay a tax whenever they purchased salt. Everyone, including the poorest people, used salt and paid the salt tax. Gandhiji wanted Indians to produce salt and thus break the salt law. The Dandi March was organized by Gandhiji to break the salt law. It was a 385-kilometer walk. On 12th March 1930, it started from Sabarmati Ashram and ended on 6th April 1930 at the coastal village of Dandi. Here, Gandhiji made a handful of salt at the seashore and thus broke the salt law. Children, the meaning of coastal and seashore is the same. That is, the part of the land that is next to the sea is termed as coastal as well as seashore. In this way, the civil disobedience movement began in India. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, famously known as Badshah Khan and Bacha Khan, was a staunch follower of Mahatma Gandhi and his principle of non-violence. This love for ahimsa and satyagraha earned him another nickname, the Frontier Gandhi. From northwest part of India, he led the movement. Khudai Khidmatgar was the organization formed by him. British tried their level best to suppress the movement. They imprisoned the satyagrahis in large number. The Congress was declared illegal and major Congress leaders were also jailed. Children, now we have to continue the reading on the same page 124. In this way, the civil disobedience movement began in India. Soon it took the shape of a mass movement. The salt law was defied by many people. Defied means refused. In the northwest part of India, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan led the movement. He was popularly known as Frontier Gandhi. Khudai Khidmatgar was the organization formed by him. Repressive measures were used by the British government to crush the movement. Satyagrahis were imprisoned in large numbers. The Congress was declared illegal and major Congress leaders were jailed. Let's move ahead with our next topic, the Round Table Conferences. The three Round Table Conferences of 1930 till 1932 were a series of peace conferences organized by the British government and Indian political personalities to discuss constitutional reforms in India. These started in November 1930 and ended in December 1932. Demands for Swaraj or self-rule in India has been growing increasingly strong. B.R. Ambedkar, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Sir Tej Bahadur Sapru, V.S. Srinivas, Sir Muhammad Zafarullah Khan, K.T. Paul and Meera Behan were the key participants from India. Children, let us see what happened in the first Round Table Conference. The first Round Table Conference happened from 12th November 1930 to 19th January 1931. Prior to the conference, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi had initiated the civil disobedience movement in India. Consequently, since many of the leaders were in jail, Congress did not participate in the first conference. The outcomes of the first Round Table Conference were minimal. Minimal means not effective. The British government realized that the Indian National Congress needed to be a part of the deciding the future of constitutional government in India. Lord Irwin, the Viceroy, met with Gandhiji to reach a compromise. So what did they compromise on? Well, a pact was signed in 1931, which is popularly known as the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. According to the pact, Congress would discontinue the civil disobedience movement. Congress would also participate in the Second Roundtable Conference. The British government withdrew all the ordinances issued to curb the Congress. And moreover, they agreed to free all the political prisoners except those involved in the violence. And here comes the Second Roundtable Conference. The Second Roundtable Conference was held in London, this time with the participation of Gandhiji and Indian National Congress. The Second Roundtable Conference was also a failure because of many disagreements among the participants. Moreover, British did not discuss the demand for independence. The first Roundtable Conference was a failure. The second Roundtable Conference was also a failure. Now let's see what happened in the third Roundtable Conference. It was also held in London in November 1932. The third Roundtable Conference was not attended by the Indian National Congress and Gandhiji. Many other Indian leaders were also absent. Just like the first two conferences, little was achieved. And thus, the conference was a failure. The Congress Working Committee took the decision to restart the civil disobedience movement. Let's resume the reading from page 124, topic The Roundtable Conferences. First Roundtable Conference of 1930. Roundtable Conference means type of a conference or a group discussion among the participants. The first Roundtable Conference was organized by the British government in 1930 to discuss the Simon Commission report. I hope you all remember what was Simon Commission report. The commission which was sent to India for bringing changes in the constitution. But unfortunately, the Simon Commission report was boycotted by the Indian National Congress as well as Muslim League because there was no Indian member in the commission. The first Roundtable Conference was held in London. This conference was boycotted by the Indian National Congress. Boycotted means to refuse to take part in an event. The conference was a failure as no decision could be taken without the participation of the Congress. Gandhi-Irwin Pact of 1931. Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed in 1931. Pact means an agreement between two parties. Under the pact, the government agreed to free all political prisoners except those involved in violence. Political prisoners means a person imprisoned for their political beliefs or actions. In return, the Congress suspended the civil disobedience movement. Suspended means to stop or to delay. It also agreed to participate in the second Roundtable Conference. So basically, Gandhi-Irwin Pact was an agreement between Gandhiji and Irwin to bring Gandhiji back into the second Roundtable Conference. Second Roundtable Conference of 1931. Gandhiji represented the Indian National Congress in the Second Roundtable Conference. In this conference, the British government focused on the rights of the minorities and the princely states. Minorities means a small group of people who are of different race or religion, like Sikhs, Parsis, or Christians. They did not discuss the demand for independence. The conference ended in failure. Gandhiji returned to India. He relaunched the civil disobedience movement. The third Roundtable Conference of 1932. It was also held in London in November 1932. The Congress boycotted the conference. The conference was a failure. Movement resumed. Resumed means to begin again. The civil disobedience movement was resumed after the return of Gandhiji to India. The government reacted with aggression. Aggression means angry feelings. Many leaders, including Gandhiji, were arrested. With his arrest, the movement lost its vigor. Vigor means strength. The Congress withdrew the movement in 1934. The Communal Awards. The term communal means something used or shared in common by everyone in a group. The British government announced the communal awards in 1932. Separate electorates were granted to the scheduled caste or untouchables and the minorities by this award. Electorates means all the people in a country or area who are entitled to vote in an elections. Gandhiji was not in favor of this scheme, but later B.R. Ambedkar and Gandhiji signed the Pune Pact of 1932. The Pune Pact was an agreement between Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on behalf of the depressed classes, means the scheduled castes. Children, that is all in today's class. Let's go through the objectives quickly and analyze that what we have achieved in today's class. We have read about the civil disobedience movement, and in civil disobedience movement we have read about the popular Dandi March by Mahatma Gandhi. Then we have studied about the round table conferences and its failures. Last, we have studied about Gandhi-Irwin Pact of 1931. A little progress each day adds up to big results. So, don't skip even a single day without watching the school videos related to your topics. Just follow the school link on YouTube for that. Read page 124 and 125 of your book and please do the related back exercises and revise the terms. Take care of yourself and your family. Have a good day.